right? Oh, I still got Premiere kicked up.
Okay, we
Yay.
are live. Hey everyone, thanks for joining the stream. So today I'm doing my first stream for the year, by the way. So I actually do stream very regularly. So I used to do. We also run a podcast called This is Tech Talks, but this is not something which we are doing it as a podcast because we wanted to see the code. So our podcast is more about, okay, let's hang out, come chat, and but I was really excited when Puneet or Peter or a Fuzzy Bear, whatever you know him by. So he met me at London last year, and that was fun conference. So actually, I met a lot of friends, and Puneet was one of them for sure. And then just like we were discussing, and then Puneet said, "Let's hang out, and we can actually." I said, "Why don't you teach me Astro build?" And he was like, "Okay, let's do it." So yeah, here we are finally after 3 months. So thank you so much, Puneet, for like being on the show.
No, thank you, Baji, for having me on. It's an actual pleasure and a treat. It's like being the first, stream of the year. I hope you continue with these because, yeah, you're such a great guy. It was so good getting
Uh,
to know you down in London. But it really
thank you
was.
so much. Thank you so much. So okay, let's go ahead, and first we will, of course, I will come to the code because I want to see
Hmm.
that. But
Hmm.
just to give a small intro, what is Astro?
Astro is a very powerful, um, content-driven meta framework in a sense.
Okay.
It allows you to
Mm-hmm.
build really fast websites very quickly, right? And it is extremely content focused. So you could build your content, you could build your blog sites, your marketing sites, your landing pages, everything including e-commerce, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Astro excels at that. It gives you fantastic performance out of the box. So you don't have to worry about all the extra stuff that comes along with this.
Mm-hmm.
You're one click terminal and you're away. You're literally one command in the terminal and you're off.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and see some live code, right? So would
Right.
you like
Okay.
to share screen or
Yes, I'm just actually when we give me one wee second, right? I'm just
yeah?
loading up my VS code, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just getting myself here we go. Right, okay. Bum 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 bum. And let me just share my screen. Present. Share screen. And it's my entire screen. Here we go.
Okay. So let's add it to stream. Yep. You have to change it.
Yep. So I'm just going to minimize yourself. I won't be able to see you for the time being, right? But
Mhm. Yeah.
welcome to VS Codeland, right? Something that we're very familiar with. But first of all,
Yeah.
let me just quickly take you right on a wee tour of Astro because you asked what it is, right? So let
Mhm.
me just quickly take you to the astro.build homepage, right? And just give you an overview, like if you were just somebody coming into Astro and me just showing my brother what Astro is, right, to somebody completely new to this thing, right? Like I've said, it allows you to build your websites very quickly and deliver, and
Mhm.
and your clients to receive them very quickly. It is a static site generator, and it also provides server-side rendering, right? And there was something new in V2 that I'll mention in a wee second, right? But generally speaking, amazing content-driven websites can be built on Astro, right? We
Mhm.
have a very interesting architectural model called islands architecture, which allows you to basically build your website utilizing whatever framework you choose, right? So you're not restricted to just React. You could utilize the entire plethora of web frameworks out there. So from everything from React, Solid, Svelte, Lit, Vue, etc. Right? You could utilize them all in the same environment, right? And it is through the power of islands that this has happened. So your components become islands, right? Those
Yeah.
islands of interactivity where everything else remains static. That is the concept of islands, right? Um, like I said, it is extremely content driven, right? So you can connect to it utilizing a vast array of content management systems, right? You can utilize just by bringing in vet, just by getting it, right? This is, for instance, Storyblock is one of our partners. Fantastic CMS. tool, headless CMS library, right? But so you would like, the idea is you have your content external, you have your content separated as a separate layer, right? And then you just have that feeding into your page. You have top level await. So your async await just works brilliantly with Astro, right? And I want to just show you a small snippet of the code that we're going to go into in a wee bit, right? And this is what you see here is what you get, kind of thing. On the left is the output from what's on the right. And I can zoom in if you want. Is that okay?
Yeah, if you zoom a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's visible.
Right. Right. Okay. So I'll just want you to know the first three dashes at the top, right? This is the Astro front matter. So this is a special part, right, of your .astro file, right, which contains your server-side logic. So this is where all your business logic will get contained. That is ran on the server or at build time, right?
Okay, that's cool.
Okay. Underneath that, you have just standard HTML, right, as your templating language. So you can pull in values and then have that plugged into your template, right? And then Astro will just go off and build that. And then you could even utilize JSX. So it's HTML and JSX, right? So the extra JavaScript expressions that you could write, you could also have that ability within your templating language.
So I can just like, this is only, it only supports JSX or any other syntax as well?
Yes. So that it's a HTML and JSX.
Okay. So you can
Marriage. Yeah.
okay.
Right. And
Nice.
so you would get, so for instance, this just renders out the links, right, to your Storyblock content, right? And that's what we have here, right? We have a great relationship with Markdown and MDX, right?
Okay.
So you could actually put your Markdown pages directly within your pages directory, and they'll get rendered out as routes. And I'll show you all that in a wee second, right? MDX is particularly cool because it allows you to import your components, right? So here we have this top one here, right, on the you see on the left is your actual hero component. This is an Astro component. So it's very static. You know, there's little interactivity if you wanted to add to that, right? You have your MDX, just your standard markdown written inside it. And then you also have this React counter or a solid counter or a JSX counter, right? Sorry, or a Preact counter, right? Written in any one of those particular JSX or TSX outputs, right?
So just hang on. So it just like works out of the box. I don't have to do anything. No configuration required.
No configuration required. I'll show you that in a wee second, Paya. Right.
Okay.
So we'll unpack that box together, right? But I just wanted to give you a brief overview of like the home page, and just so you could get that information together, right? So we have a good understanding of where we're going to go, right? And down here, right, you have your little counter, right, which gives you interactivity, right?
That's good.
It's amazing, right? And this here, I'm not quite sure if you could hear it, but did you hear that?
No, I mean,
No.
probably.
Right. So we'll probably do this, right, together, right? It's like you would hear Owen Wilson basically go, wow, right? And this is just demonstrates using top level await, fetching from a random API, right? Getting the data back as a JSON, sticking that into the audio player, and then you're away. You don't need anything else. There's no JavaScript on this particular part. Right?
Yeah, that's good.
Like I said, you utilize all the tools that you know and love, right? So we're not asking you to drop anything. We're not asking you to forgo the things that you've already learned, because that's not going to be fair. You could utilize Tailwind with SAS. You could utilize, it's got a very strong TypeScript relationship. Like I mentioned, Markdown and MDX and all your frameworks on the left-hand side there.
Wow.
Right?
My favorite framework is missing, actually.
What is it?
You know, Angular.
Angular. Ooh. I'll come to that in a wee second then, right? I'll come to that in a wee second, right? We allow you to deploy to any of the network deployment providers. We don't have any buy-ins with anybody. We're Netlify and Vercel, you know, sponsor the open collective part of the Astro community and that particular side of that. but generally speaking, we are completely agnostic when it comes to frameworks and deployment providers, right? So, and not
Nice.
only that, we've got amazing guides, right? So I'll just spin
Mm-hmm.
up a couple of these guides for you, right? Um, this is the Astro docs,
Mm-hmm.
the wonderful Astro docs, right? And this is a solid integration page. Like I said, one click and it takes you there, and it shows you from top to bottom how to get about going about utilizing Solid within your Astro project, right? And additional documentation about how to utilize these frameworks, client-side hydration, concepts I'm going to explain to you in 5 minutes, and I might and literally it takes us 30 seconds to go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've got more frameworks, more adapters, right? And other
Mm-hmm.
integrations like Partytown, Tailwind. We've got
Oh,
site maps built in, RSS, etc. Right, for the blogs, right?
so whatever says slash Astro is community built plugin, or is it like maintained by the team?
Right. So if it's at Astro.js / those are Astro maintained set of core plugins that we provide, right?
Oh, nice.
Um, but we have such an immense array of wider plugins that is generated by the community, right? Is fantastic. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, and this just basically talks about it here, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
instance, the Astro Party Town is one that was
Mm-hmm.
given to us, right? By Adam, what's his name?
Builder.io.
Over at Builder.io. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Astro Image Component is a native image component within Astro that allows you to transform images to any kind of output that you want. It, takes your image and makes it responsive, utilizing the HTML picture components or the image components. It's pretty damn cool. Tailwind,
Ah.
right, for all your stylists, right? And we have such a great community via. So honestly,
Mm-hmm.
community is what makes Astro.
Ah, of
Astro
course.
is a commons. That's the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge short of it. Every one of these people here, right, and more, right, have contributed to Astro in their own unique way,
Oh, nice. Nice.
right? So yeah, that is something I want to share, right? Okay, so let's get stuck into the code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, here we go, right? And I'm just going to basically spin this up in a wee distro, right? Bum, 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 bum. Using distro, let's kick in my Ubuntu, right? And I don't like how VS Code does that. But anyways, I've got like 4 instances of VS Code now open. Let me just close this and close this. There we go. Right. Okay. So I'm just going to make life bigger, right? Because I want to,
Mm-hmm.
this is how you would do it, right? So I'm just going to navigate into my, there we go, right? And what we're just going to do is PNPM, right? You could utilize NPM, Yarn, or PNPM, right?
Mm-hmm.
PNPM is my own particular, is actually the build as the package manager of choice for Astro, right? It just works
Oh,
very
okay.
well, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's many benefits of utilizing PNPM. So when we come to PNPM, we go PNPM create Astro, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this will bring Astro version 2. What I always like to do is just go and make sure that I'm getting the latest,
Ah, latest. Okay.
right? And you're going to be introduced to something very cool. Welcome to the Houston bot.
Oh, what's this?
Can you see that there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Initializing launch sequence. Yeah, this is nice.
Right. So you have your Houston bot, right, which is
Mm-hmm.
our command line bot that just walks you through, right, the
Mm-hmm.
initial, setup required features,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Okay.
it gives us a default name, Alfred Altitude, right? So we could do that one if we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Us developers, man, when it comes to naming things, it's the second hardest thing apparently. So, right? So
Always.
always, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off with the recommended package, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
to because it has a couple of things out of
Best
the
practice.
box, best
Okay.
practices, right? And it's just doing its thing, right? It's just grabbing things from the internet and going live with it all, right? So downloading from npm, installing your packages, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's going to ask you next, right?
Yeah.
And then that does its thing. Bear in mind, right? It's like, so what's really happening here, right? It's like it's reusing packages from before and it's only downloading the ones that it needs, right?
Okay.
And that's why PNPM is very versatile in that opinion. It drastically reduces that whole node modules black hole that you get with every project, right? So it's really good, you know. So here we're just going to initialize a new Git repository, why not? And then it comes to my favorite question: would you like to use TypeScript, right? Baya, do you like TypeScript?
Of course, I mean, I'm into front end because of TypeScript. I mean, if believe me, because I was a
Right.
.NET developer before,
Oh, right.
and
Okay.
then around 2017, I came across Angular, which was the first framework to use TypeScript.
That's true. Yes,
And thanks to Angular, we have like TypeScript became so popular.
that's very true. No, that is very true. TypeScript was one of the first major buy-ins for the project, right?
Yeah,
And you can
yeah,
understand why, because in essence, it helps us developers lead a better life. In
yep,
essence,
true.
right? You know, it's
Less
like
errors.
"Ardigala," as they say. Right, and so it's like we're now into our into our directory, and I'm just going to open this up for us, right, and show you a wee bit of the browse, the file structure, right.
Ah,
Now, what we have is so package JSON, very easy, very light.
yep,
Okay,
of course.
nothing difficult there. You have a README here, right? That is, sorry, let me just preview this. Control Shift V, that's what it was. Because I hit that the other day. I was thinking, what was the hotkey that I hit the other day? Right. So you do have a little README that comes with every installation just to keep you on track of things, right?
Nice.
Your basics, right? Now let's get into the funky stuff, right? You have two directories. You have your public directory, which stores your non-transformable assets or your static assets, the things like
Okay.
picture files, robot.txt files, things that is not going to be transformed or done in the final output, right? And that gets sent directly one-to-one on the final build, right? So what, because that becomes the root favicon.svg on the final output, right? And it's good to know what the final output is, because that's how we're going to link to things, right? Astro does something called file-based routing. So anything
Yeah.
that's dropped in the pages directory gets its own immediate route. Okay, you could do dynamic routing. You could do everything and in between, right? It's a layout. You know, it provides a templating ability, like I mentioned with the HTML JSX, right? So you can comprise your own layouts. So you can just drop them in on top of the pages like a little dress, right? So, you know, you got your layouts folder, and then you can separate all your components together, right? And have them nicely, you know, separated, and just
Yeah.
have them outside of life, right?
Oh,
Happy days,
nice.
right? And that is it, right? And what you see here is the .astro file, right? And let's take a wee look at that, right? But before I do that, I'm going to introduce you to my little friend, Houston.
Oh, nice.
There we go, right? You can actually get this from the VS Code Marketplace, right? Just by going to your extensions and just by typing Houston, and you get it here, right? And it comes as a theme, right?
Oh,
So yeah, you can get that, and it comes with little Houston. Highly recommend it. Houston's only going to grow, right? I'll show you something really cool about the Houston bot layer, right? I'm just making a note of it in case I forget. Right, okay, so by what we've got is bigger from what I've shown you on the homepage, right? Is a deeper dive into the .astro component file, right? It is a single component, it's a single file component, right? So similar to your view files or your svelte files, right? The whole idea is it comprises as much logic together. So it co-locates different parts of your development workflow together in a very nice way. Okay. It's ESM first, so none of this common JS syntax.
Yep. Got it.
right? So here we're importing our layout, right? Sorry, Houston. Need the. Oh, can I just say, right? You would also need to use the Astro theme as well. The Astro.
Oh, okay. There is a language support. Cool.
There is amazing language support. We have one of probably the best, people on the job when it comes to developers' language support for us. Erica, a huge shout out to her. She's one of the core maintainers in Astro, and she has applied every bit of magic and wizardry she knows in order to blend the Astro language tools to meet the needs of the developers and the community. It is
Nice.
nothing short of amazing what she's done here. Highly recommend it. Without it, you get this very basic, a very shallow experience. This here just enriches your time when you're utilizing Astro, and I highly recommend it. So when you utilize it, just Astro, and then if you want a wee friendly companion, get Houston, right?
Okay.
Okay, that's it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to our index, right, and just show you. It's like, well, index is what people come and look at, right? And right now we have very little concept of this. This is the layout element, right, that we are importing in here, that we have declared here, right?
Oh, this layout. Okay.
And you'll probably notice your TypeScript,
Props. Yeah.
right, which basically allows you to create. There we go. Sorry, it wasn't opening side by side for a second there, right? Which allows us to basically pass title values down into the actual page layout, right? For the index. Okay. What I'm going to actually do is spin up the dev server, right? While we're doing this, okay, and minimize this, right? And sorry, copy this. Show this. Yay! Now you go there, right? Happy days, right? And we don't need the file extension thingy. We still need the terminal at the bottom, right? But yeah, you got your website, right? So everything here gets put out here, right? So spelled that right, didn't I?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hot module reloading, everything as you normally expect, right? Which is fantastic, right? And I just want to basically show, it's like here we've got this, it's just HTML, right? This is our layout, which everything gets dropped in utilizing something known as slots, right?
Okay.
So we could just declare slots. We could have name slots, right? And you can do so much cool things with slots. It's insane. Slots is one of the ways that we pass children in from one level to another, right? And yeah, this becomes this, right? This wee card down at the bottom here, right, is that I'm just going to basically make a new wee card, right, because it's nice, right? Just to labor the point, right? We get our card component, right? And even Gitpod Copilot knows.
Copilot, always.
I know, even Copilot knows what we're trying to do, right? So yeah, let's just accept that for the time being, right? And I'm just going to hit this as a blank route, right? And we've got our title. Actually, to be honest, right, I wanted to actually not be lazy, right? I wanted to show you the inference that you get, right? So you get your props that surface up from these card components, right? And you get additional properties as well, right? That are preset. This is why the language tools are so brilliant, right? And so here we just basically set the title, right? And go this. Welcome to Astro, fair enough, Copilot, I could take that. And then we basically go body, right? Happy days, and yeah. Then href. And if you don't want to know, you could always bring it up, and then we're just going to call this a demo.link, right? And closing life, right? Closing the ankle brackets, right? And save that, and we've got that there, right? Happy days. And these obviously will link you to other parts of this is just a demo page, right? But yeah, general concept, we good? Any questions so far from the class?
I think there was one, but TKL4039. I'm sure he knows you really well, so he's been answering all the questions.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and
legendary. Thank you very much.
and then Alien course joined. Just
Fantastic,
so
guys.
yeah, so far we are
Yeah.
good.
Yep. Oh, amazing. Right. Okay. So what I want to show, right, is just a quick comprise, right, is like of general syntax behavior, right? So just, I mean, there's nothing here that stands out to you as difficult, is there?
It's really, I mean, that's what actually Sunil also mentioned. So he said,
Mhm.
yeah, this so far it just looks so easy to understand. He, of course, he's going to give it a try.
Oh, I
And
would appreciate if Baya tries that. I would really
yeah,
appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah. And I was also like just going through last week because, of course, I don't wanted to come as like, okay, what is Astro? And I don't know anything. So of course I went. So I went through the docs and okay, I did a
Mhm.
small application, and it was so much. I mean, the great part which I liked was the integration with the UI frameworks, right? So
Right.
you just like okay, include your React component, Vue component, and it works out of the box. So I like okay, this is mind blowing. I mean, I just have to just install that plugin, and you
Mhm.
already have like supports for Solid.js, which is amazing, right? I mean, I really
Yes.
loved it. So of course, I'm going to explore it more as well.
Yes. No, I appreciate that. It's like, I'll come to the integrations in a second. I'll come to the UI
Yeah, sure.
integrations, how to add that to your project, right? So I'll show you all that in a wee second. But I appreciate that. The That's one of the things that got me about Astro, especially in the early days, of how native things was, right,
Hmm.
to everything, right, and it really did. That really took to me because I was very much, it's like my name's Beneath, so it basically means pure in a sense. So in a sense that
Mm.
I'm a purist in that respects, right? So it's like, so yeah, when it comes to like your styling, right? This is
Hmm.
something really cool, right? So Astro, like I say, co-locates four distinct parts of your workflow, right? We have our server
Hmm.
side logic. Let me just say this. I've never done this little trick that I normally do with folk, right? So it's like I normally throw a wee console just to show people where this goes, right?
Oh.
That gets fired in the terminal, right?
Hmm.
And we have our styles.
Okay.
This can be CSS, SAS, less, post CSS if you wanted to. You just need to bring those runtimes in, right? And those preprocessors in. We
Ah, okay.
utilize, so it's like Astro is built on top of Vite, so it has a post CSS layer, right? That does the
Hmm.
CSS stuff for it, right? So yeah, if you could even utilize the massive post CSS ecosystem of plugins as well, you could even do container queries and all that stuff with Astro just by bringing in the preset env plugin, right?
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah, so you can do really cool things with CSS and Astro is what I'm trying to say, right?
nice.
Yeah, and so yeah, just your standard CSS. I'm not really a designer by you, so I'm not really going to go into that. I'm just going to go into this one little bit here, right, and just add a little
Okay.
script tag to the bottom of the page, right? And I'm just going to basically fire a console log in here, right? So here's a question: where is this going to fire then?
Okay. So
Clearly,
it's a script tag. So
yeah.
of course this is going to be client side.
Exactly,
Yeah.
100%, right? So we still got, it doesn't fire as we see on the one here,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
And because this is a simple demo browser, it doesn't really show us. Let me bring it up here. I can bring up the VS Code Dev Tools, right? But that's
Hmm.
just a mess. Nobody in their right mind should look at that for any more than a second, right? And then, so here, we've got it in the client, right?
Yep.
Happy
Ah.
days. Simple, simple, but like one of my favorite quotes ever, right, is from is it Gregor Mandelbrot, the guy that came up with fractalism, basically the mathematical formula for fractalism, and he said that from simple rules derives complexity, So from just having a simple rule that that you're allowed to do, you can do so much with it, and that is what you
Mm-hmm.
basically, yeah. So that's always stayed with me, and that was one that really plays with, especially when it comes to Astro, in my opinion, right? Because it is literally, we try not to give you many opinions, apart from there's certain things that you need to follow, right? All those are clearly guided and signposted in the docs. So if you're ever lost, you will find the docs, right? Now, let me just talk about being lost, right, for a
Mm-hmm.
second, right? So I'm just going to go, right? An error has occurred,
Oh, nice.
right?
Okay.
As we expect, because, we tripped it up, right? But this is our error overlays. This is being worked on as part of our V2 release, right?
Mm-hmm.
Erica, like I said, she is literally she goes underneath the title Princess right? And so we refer to her as a princess of DevTools and the developer experience because she really has a knack for it, right? Not only will it bring up your stack trace, right, but it would also even bring up, if the errors are known to it, right, guidance on, so it would even pin you to the Astro docs as well in here. It would even allow you to open it in the editor. And this little feature was added from the community by Happy Dev, right,
Oh,
Mustafa,
nice.
who allowed us to have the little toggle mode applied to it,
Mm,
right? And
nice.
as you can see, Houston, always over your shoulder
Mm.
guiding you, right? So yeah,
Oh,
this is the error overlay. It's not your typical red wall of error text, if you get me.
yeah.
It's a lot more user friendly. It's a lot more accessible as well for a lot of people, right? So that was one thing that I was just wanted to quickly show off, right? Was the error overlay experience, right? Um, but then yes, so what do you want to do, Baya? Right? Let's actually get some markdown in here, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then let's just like build out some pages and stuff
Yep.
like that, right?
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do, right, is create an about page, a
Mm-hmm.
simple markdown page, right? And markdown comes with front matter. That's where the 3 dashes come from, right? Astro's
Yep.
3 dashes, simple as Astro front
Ah,
matter. It's markdown front matter, sorry, right? And we're
okay.
just going to call this us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to pin, right?
Mm-hmm.
We still got that
You
error.
have
Let
to,
me
yeah.
just
Yeah.
save that. There we go,
Yep.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
life is back, right? And we've got our about, right? So when we hit that, we have the story of two brothers, the route generated, and all I did was stick a markdown
Wow.
page in pages.
This very nice. I mean, uh, of course, this like having this routing
Mm-hmm.
just like out of the box, it's really useful.
Mm, it really is. It's sorry, that tea is cold. What do you call it? It's one of the that kind of routing is difficult to implement on your own.
Yep.
Let's
Right.
not be kidded, right? To have that kind of facility out the box. Now, this was kind of the stuff that was day one kind of stuff from Astro that I'm showing you. Right, it is.
Nice.
We're now in version 2, and there's a lot more kick-ass stuff that's came down the way. But there's no point in me showing you all of that with if you don't, if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
the prior stuff, right? So that's what the about page is. Just a simple demonstration, right? But in here, what we can do in Astro, right, is like to stick a dress on top of it, right? Is actually point it to the layouts. And then that will then start applying
Wow.
the CSS and the HTML structure over the top of it, right? So let's go into the layout directory now,
Yeah.
right? Because
So Sunil has a question. Let's I
yes,
think we can
what is
take
Baya
this.
saying?
So
Of
Sunil
course.
has a question like how does Astro handles scripts and style loading?
Right, okay. Naturally, like the spec determines. It's probably the quickest and easiest answer, Baya. So it's like the all of this gets scoped is probably the best way of saying this, right?
Okay.
So your CSS is scoped, for instance, to this page level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can have your CSS scoped to the component, right? Like I'll show you in a wee second, right? So
Yeah.
this is like a component, and we have our CSS style linked here, right?
Okay.
And these will
Mm-hmm.
be all scoped directly to this component,
Yeah, got it.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
style,
I think
Mhm.
this is
Sorry,
what most of the frameworks do now. So
yeah,
when you
scope
actually
and
define a, yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So it doesn't really trip in many regards to how it loads, right? It's very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And you could utilize
So
Tailwind.
yeah,
We'll bring Tailwind in a wee second, right? So coming back to, sorry,
I just about to say. I mean, so the advantage is it will not leak outside of the this component, right?
exactly,
And
mhm, or where it's basically,
yeah,
how I like to say it is like it's not scope. It doesn't leak outside of where it's declared, right?
yeah,
Because
good.
it could be
Yeah,
declared,
that's yeah.
and you could import your styles utilizing CSS just at the top or into the styles itself, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's take a look at this layout page because it shows a wee bit more of that, right? Here, like we demonstrated before with the title attribute, right? Just passing in the props, right? You would
Mm-hmm.
get that on the Astro.global, right? And there's links to this, right? Fully,
Oh,
right? From your actual API. So if you've forgotten what the Astro Global is, you could always bring that up,
oh, nice.
right? And there is a lot of different APIs on it,
This
right?
is useful. Mm-hmm.
So this is, to be honest, this is where I predominantly live. I have the memory of a goldfish, so this is where I normally live, just to keep myself sane.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, of course, we cannot work without Googling. And then if you get that like this experience out of the box from the like your editor, I mean, it's
Mhm.
like really best, right? I don't have to do anything.
Exactly. I mean, not only that, it's like the power of great documentation allows you to have that as you can always refer on that. That way, you're not really directly committing it to memory. You're just you're relying on it in a sense.
Yeah, got it.
Great documentation. If we have time, I'll talk to you about the documentation and the amazing
Yeah,
work that
sure, sure.
Chris and Sarah and the 400 odd contributors have put into that particular
That's cool.
project. Right, is completely open source by a completely open source the docs. It's such a galvanizing project. It's insane. But yeah, so we have our styles, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is declared globally. So this allows it to
Ah,
basically project itself outwards, right?
oh,
So
yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
got it.
get scoped, it goes one level up and it's
Mm-hmm.
globally available to the entire document,
Mm-hmm.
right? And yeah, that's what I really wanted to show you, right?
Oh, nice, nice.
We're
That's
not
good.
lost so far,
No.
right?
So, yeah. So this let's come to the second question, which was about script, because I'm also wondering how it happens, because in other frameworks we know lazy loading, right? So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we generally like lazy load the part of the code when we request for it, but how it is handled in Astro?
So using something called partial hydration by
Ah,
right?
okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump forward a wee second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then I'm going to have to write the components, and nobody ever wants to see that happen, right? This is astro.new. I'll pin
Uh-huh.
this in if you want on the chat, right?
Yeah.
This allows you to basically go in on the browser and get spun up with Astro in seconds, right? Utilizing any of the amazing projects that is StackBlitz, Code Sandblocks, or Gitpod, right? And from there, you can start your empty project or just the one that we've started with just the basics, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could spin up a wee docs repo and then you could clone it, fork it if you wanted to, right? You could play about with all the different frameworks straight off the bat, right? Because these all come bundled in with these examples, right? But this is the one that I'm going to demonstrate to you. But further down, right? So let me just spin this up in Code Sandbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
But further down while that is doing its thing, sorry, let me just hit this and then come back here, right? So yeah, you could basically play with demonstrate Markdown plugins with the whole Remark ecosystem that you could play with. Remark and Rehype plugins, right? You could tie into your Markdown pipeline, so you could
Mm-hmm.
customize the Markdown output, right? Shiki's built into Markdown. That's what we use for our code blocks, right? And
Nice.
code formatting, right? Play about with MDX if you want. Nanostores is a great way of demonstrating how to exchange store-like data states
Okay.
between different
States, yeah.
islands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nanostores is a fantastic external project, right? That is completely framework agnostic. It's fantastic, right? Here's a PWA plugin that you could get from
Ah,
Vite, right, to make your site completely PWA.
nice.
Basic unit testing, and you could also integrate
Right.
with Playwright as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can even add Playwright testing in there. And here's some templates with, for instance, this is with a Deno deployment, right? And Hacker News demo and SSR demo that we could come to if we have the time, right? And yeah, just general components. This is a good one to demonstrate how people to make basic components. It was a very good starter project, right? But we are here in a second editor experience for the time being, right? And this might trip on us, I believe. Oh no, it's not, because it's perfect, right? Um, so we're pretty familiar now, right, with the Astro syntax, right? And I'm just going to zoom in on this, right? Pardon me.
Yeah.
But what you're not familiar with, right, is how to utilize, like you're saying, scripts and client-side behavior interactivity. Okay. Understand this: Astro compiles to static HTML, right?
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, static HTML is what you're going to get, right? And I'm just going to be cheating here, and um, I cannot do two things at one time, Baya. I've not
Mm-hmm.
evolved that way, so forgive me, right?
Yeah.
Um, right, so that's that there, right? And I'm just going to save that and reload this. And as you can see, right, sorry, we have on this main page, right, a
Mm-hmm.
React component. These are all counters, as you can see on the right-hand side here, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
All typical counters, right? Minimize, 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 minimize. There we go, right? And so we got React, Preact, Solid, Vue, and Svelte sitting all on the same page together, like you can see there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Generally speaking, that is a hard enough thing to do, to get all these to render out in the same way, right? Normally, you're going like with Vue, you go down the whole Nuxt route, which is fantastic as a framework for Vue,
Mm-hmm.
for the Vue ecosystem. React, you're into Nextland, right? Preact, you're into your own sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
Solid start, right? Svelte kit. You get what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
really get all of these five to play together all at the same time
Right.
nicely, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult. But Astro is, again, table stakes for us, that, right? For us to be completely agnostic as a platform,
Mm-hmm.
the whole point is we want to minimize the barriers for you to get to something good. We want to we're all on this journey to building a better web. And by us having, small silos or individual ways of doing things, doesn't get us there any quicker, right? So yeah, allows you to bring all these guys in, and this is just rendering, as you can see, as static HTML. Let me show you some of the code. This is a Preact component of a counter, right? Like you can see here,
Mm-hmm.
here's your HTML, right?
Yeah.
Here's your
Mm-hmm.
state handlers and your function logic, right?
Right.
You've got your React counter, very similar, utilizing useState, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much one for one when it comes to Preact, right? Solid is slightly different. Solid utilizes signals,
Signal.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is in itself reactivity
Yeah.
done right, in my opinion, right? Svelte is a fantastic way of describing and creating components very quickly and very easily, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, then we have Vue, which is, like I said, they're all very good, bro. I'm not
Yep.
disputing any single one of these from each other. Every single framework has by their own right and merit value, so it's like, yeah. Anyway, point is they're all sitting there quite nicely together, right? And as you can see, they're all rendered here, right? So if I was to run a build, you would just expect a static HTML site with all of this, right? So if I was to do this, right? Sorry, it's up here. And we're going to go to build, right? I'm just going to show you the output, right?
Mm-hmm.
All I really did was chose, like, in essence, in this small little exercise is like, I'm very comfortable with writing React. I kind of know HTML and how to get my React components now into Astro, right? I just import it at the top and I declare it at the bottom in the template. Pretty simple, right? And this will go build it. This will then give me a dist folder whenever it decides to do this, right? I don't know why it's taking so long.
Probably internet. No, why should
Yeah, I don't understand that,
yeah.
right? So let me just close that, right,
Yeah.
and use a new terminal, right? And then just do npm run build, and then npm run preview, right? So it's just going to build our static entries for us, or static endpoints for us, gets all the client stuff, adds it. Happy days, right? Done in milliseconds. Here's our dist folder, right? It's not going to show us it because we are on a free plan, right? But anyways, in here you will see static HTML assets, right?
Yeah.
The next thing to show, right, is the output, right? Because in here, bear in mind, this is written in React, etc. I could labor the point, right? But we have our HTML. When I go to reload this, right, forgive the network tools, but we have no JavaScript that is sent because Astro is 0 JavaScript by default. It will send HTML straight down the wire first and foremost. We are HTML first. One of the first HTML framework. Right? Just want to point that there for the quick team. Right? So it's like, how cool were the quick team when we met them in London, Baya? They were awesome. Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, so we got our document, we got everything, and forgive the extensions, right? But yeah, 0 JavaScript. All of these were written in JavaScript. You get me? And as you can see, right, Astro had no problems building that out.
Nice.
Right? So let me close this, right, and show you some cool things, right? Partial hydration, the pure simple concept of partial hydration is that you, the developer, right? Well, I could go. I'm really crap at drawing, but if you could bear with me, right? It's like, generally speaking, what happens is with a React app, you're sending the entire React runtime down the line, right? That then renders out on the virtual DOM and in the client, right? The page. Then that gets hydrated or put on with interactivity then loaded onto it, right? So everything happens in JavaScript. So you get sent a default shell with a big JavaScript file, and then JavaScript does all the heavy work, and then it updates the DOM, and it's still sweating away in the background, right? That is CPU intensive, just getting expensive all over for no reason whatsoever, right? So what the concept of partial hydration is that let's break that up, right? There's other times that there's other points on the execution lifecycle of the event loop on the client that we could turn around and have JavaScript loaded, right? We have, for instance, here, right? We have 5 different ways of instructing Astro of how to load JavaScript. Okay. Right. So as you can imagine, right, we have client idle, right, which and is as it's basically says on the tin, right? Idle basically is when the request callback idle tick fires, right? And the browser and the thread says, "Hey, I'm free," and then we turn around and goes, "No, you're not." right?
Okay.
That's what that happens there, right? Client load is when DOM content loaded. So once the DOM is done itself, right, goes right JavaScript, what you got for me, and then turns around and goes, I've got this for you,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Client media is great. So if you're like got specific, like if you got components or islands that you only want to run on mobile devices or tablets, right? Client media is a great way of just specifying that constraint, right? Using media queries.
Mhm.
Client only is if you only want it to, now bear in mind, right, Astro builds these components, these React components, these Preact components at build time, right?
Mhm.
It was so it's like what we're basically saying here is like, don't render it at build time, send this straight down to the client and have that execute on the client only, right?
Okay.
Okay, so that's the opt out, if you get me,
Mhm.
the escape hatch, right?
Mhm.
But and so that answers the potential question of, can Astro load spaz? And in a sense, or massive single page applications on a particular route, yes, you can, right? You could even set up the routing for that to point to and have different things come through. It's entirely up to you. Like I said, simple rules, complexity, right?
Mhm.
Client visible is the favorite one out the box, right? Because that allows you to load it when it becomes visible on the viewport. So even if
Oh,
the client doesn't, scroll further down past the header, right, it will never send the JavaScript,
that's good.
right? Exactly. So let me just show you the client visible, because all the rest is pretty descriptive, like I said, right? The client visible has the most oomph for value, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset these, but I'm just going to quickly pop in some lorem text, right? And I'm going to make it quite big, right? So there's a fair bit of body, there's a fair bit of text ahead of the components,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then that way we could just defer loading. So I'm just trying to pick a number, 25, sorry. 25 feels good, right? And let me just do that everywhere, right? So when we spin this back up the next time, sorry. Um, come on, do this thing. Multi-line. Doesn't do multi-line. Come on. It does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Thank God. Hey, see if I had to do that by myself, would have cried. Lorem times 25, right? Pow, happy days. And then we're just going to run this command again, where we're just going to run build and preview this all up together, right? Because let's see what it looks like in production,
Mhm.
right? Dev is cool. Dev is fantastic. Dev is fast. You get hot module reloading. You get all the tricks that you would expect, right?
Mhm.
But prod is where we get paid.
Mhm.
Right? So actually that's not enough. Right. So let me do this and do a reload, right?
Mhm.
Minimize it like that. Right, good. So that way
Mhm.
it's completely hidden. And now I'm going to do my network request and I'm going to reload this, right?
Mhm.
It's given us React, right?
Mhm.
No, it's prepared the injection for React, as you can see here, right? So to answer your question, how scripts and all this is bundled and inject and done, Astro does it for you, right?
Oh.
And so it's like it's prepared itself, and then we just come in and down, right? And then
Mhm.
we're hitting React, right?
Ah,
I like that
cool.
noise,
This is nice.
right? And then we've got full-blown interactivity. We could utilize our counter to our heart's extent, right? Bear in mind, we've got 5 frameworks on this page,
Mhm.
right? We've only loaded the one. You know what? I'm done with this page. I'm away. I've only ever loaded that one runtime, that one tiny bit of JavaScript that's got sent down the wire. So far, I've only transmitted just over a megabyte of crap.
Right.
Right. Scrolling further down, just to labor the point 5 times, because, why not? We've got Preact
Mhm.
immediately popped on the screen, loaded, right? Hey, it works immediately.
course.
right? It doesn't work. Yes, it does. Right. Next up we have would be solid. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
guess what, guys? Kill Supreme. Nothing changes there. Right. And as you can see, this is just like JavaScript getting loaded at the bottom. Right.
Yeah.
And eyes on the bottom, we have view. Right. Just
Mm-hmm.
brought into view. And then last but not least, Rich Harris was filled. Right. And there you go. That is Astro's party trick. That is partial hydration in a visual nutshell. Is there
That's
any
nice.
questions? Because
Oh, I mean, this is mind blowing.
this is your thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you could enjoy this. I mean, you could do something cool called donut hydration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or where you could have React component, solid component, view component, svelte component.
Yeah.
It's insane, right? Web components are native with Astro as well. Don't ask me to write you a web component, but I'm just saying Astro has a very strong and native web component story,
Nice.
right? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the frameworks side of things, right? Now let's go back to our story of two brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what I'm going to do, right, is basically show you how you could bring about these. Sorry, 1 second. My screen does this thing where it just trips, right? Yeah. So where you could add these frameworks to your project, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is pretty cool, right? Because this is the next step, right? Oh, this is what the error looks like in the terminal. Pretty neat, right? There we go. Close that. We spin this back up, right? And we go in npm Astro add. I want to add MDX. I want to add React. I want to add Tailwind, right? The three amigos, right? So so if I just to go to, like, for instance, npm Astro add, right? It will even give you the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can even have a flag to accept all prompts, right? But yeah, it's pretty damn cool, right? So I'm just gonna go flag this with the yes command, right, and just skip through all the prompts, right? But it's pretty damn cool what comes up, right? So we can just go npm Astro add MDX React and Tailwind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Dash what? Yes. Part of it, right? So yeah, now it's just going to go do its thing, right? So what it's doing is going to grab all the dependencies for us, right? All the runtime dependencies it needs, right? And then it successfully added that to the Astro configuration file for us.
Oh, nice.
Right. So yeah, using some magic code mods, right, is managed to bring in and import it, right? And this is what our configuration file will look like. And it's even updated the TS config,
Yes.
and it successfully added the relevant integrations to your project. So it's done all the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
One CLI command. Right.
This
And
is something I love because I've been using Angular, and Angular has this from the start.
of course.
So if you want to add some dependency, you can just do like ng add and then
Right.
sort of.
So let me make you happy, Baya. Right. Let me take you to somewhere on the Astro page, which would be the integrations. And I
Mhm.
want to point you in the direction of this amazing package, right? From Brandon Roberts. Right. So you could use Analog's version of AngularJS with Astro, right?
Oh, nice.
And he has done a phenomenal job with this.
Of course.
Right. Yeah, it's Brandon, I mean, and his team, I would imagine. And yeah, it's great. So yes, it works with Astro as well, right? There is an Astro integration overview that tells you how to go about doing it, right? Going about setting up. And then you can start going away to your heart's content, writing your Angular component like you normally would.
Mm-hmm.
So
Of course.
yes,
So,
you could use
and,
Angular with Astro.
oh, nice. This is cool. Of course, Brandon, keep doing this amazing stuff. I know. So,
Seriously, hearts, big shout out to Brandon Roberts, man. The guy's
yeah.
an OG. He is legit an OG. So yeah.
So there is a small story. So
Mhm.
Brendan Roberts was the first guy who approved my pull request for my first two contributions in two different projects. So
Oh
NGR,
wow.
which he maintains, and then I raised my PR there, my first
Uh-huh.
ever PR, and he was the one who approved it. And
Oh
then
wow.
my first PR to Angular, and he was working with the Angular team at that time for
Right.
documentation. So
Of
he was there.
course.
So oh my God, same.
Same guy, same package. You can start making contributions to this thing, Baya.
Sure, sure. I'll look at analog. I mean, I want to check
Mhm.
out analog for a long time. Probably I'll do some streams as well. Let's see.
Yeah, of course. I mean, to be honest, right, it's like it would be good to see Angular developers talk more about Angular, right?
Hmm.
Because it is utilized at enterprise. New developers fear Angular because of a lot of the press, a lot of the hype, a lot of the noise in the ecosystem. They don't utilize it. Just having that visual representation of a powerful and yet well used, well maintained, enterprise grade framework, right, is something that I think they should at least play with once. Me, I played with it. I didn't like it. I ended up
Yeah.
making one thing. You find me
Yeah.
an Astro.
So I mean, just a like
Mhm.
shameless plug, but I did a Angular course last year, so I published it on Free Code Camp,
Oh
and it
wow,
has it has reached 400K views now. So in four
has it?
months, like. Yeah, so I just shared it on my in the comment section. So in
Mhm.
case you want to learn Angular, I mean this is like 17 hours
Of
course,
course.
so it's not like just getting started and it ends. It will teach you everything which you need to actually know about while working in enterprise. So
Mhm.
of course, it's like my 4 hours, 4 months of work, which is now free for everyone.
No, but that's the thing about it. It's like this is what I keep saying about the amazing people. Free Code Camp is an excellent example of this. Though the effort that Bo Cairns has put into that particular
Yeah.
project, right, and you know the energy and the sheer determination to make all that information accessible and the value of the information out there is amazing, right? I always akin knowledge and power together. It's like knowledge is power, right?
Right.
And how you utilize that makes you powerful. But one better, if you share that freely with another individual, you're sharing your power with somebody else, if in a sense. You're
Yeah.
sharing your
True.
knowledge with that individual. So that in its sense is altruistic and enough reason for you to do it. But it is one of the reasons why I love those projects, Free Code Camp, MDN, you name it. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So it's yeah, I appreciate you as a content creator on Free Code Camp, what it takes, right? Because like you said, it's a lot of your time and an energy. But
Mm.
from my point of view, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I might take that up if I have the time, right? I might pick that up, right, and just to give it a wee shot and understand, get a better understanding of what Angular is. I would have to say, um, I would happily admit where I'm fallible and where I'm naive, and yeah, I don't have a great understanding of it. Like I said, I played with it once, and I
Hmm.
was like, this was a wee bit too far
Yeah.
for my
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So, what can I say? What can I do? What can I show? Right.
Mm. So we just added the frameworks, MDX, React.
And Tailwind, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go about adding an MDX page, right?
Hmm.
Say we want to update this. Actually,
Hmm.
I'll show you the content collections as well in a wee second, right? And then that'll be yeah. So here we just want to change this, right, from a markdown page, right, to a simple MDX page,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
that's because MDX is just an extension of MD. So it is like everything which MD has, right?
Yep. Oh, sorry, I didn't restart my dev server,
Hmm.
right? This is why people who utilize Vim editors and that try and talk to me and goes, mate, I'm lazy. I like this stuff. I have a fucking mouse for a reason. You know? So yes, here we go. Right, we've got our MDX file, same as we expected, like you said, right? It's just an additional runtime that allows us to do funky stuff, right? So what we're going to do is quickly create a wee React component, right? Oh, TSX, why not?
Okay, cool.
And then, yeah, sorry, I've totally forgotten all my React knowledge, right?
That's okay.
Right. What the fuck is that?
Payment request. Okay.
What I typed in return there.
It's just like Copilot messing with you.
Exactly, right? You want to use state handlers and all that stuff, right? It's kind of, I end up making a hello a counter example, right? This would be set count. And then this would be decrement. Sub. Happy days. That looks kind of right. And then we're going to have
That's it. Yeah. Do you need to import use state, or it does works out of the box? I mean, just
yep.
Okay.
We're going to have to import it. And so yeah, and then we basically have our little hello counter. Do you want? I don't like this. Let's just call this a counter. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty ugly. Right, and I'm just gonna like you see, right? It's just gonna import this in here, right? Import counter. Sorry, hello. From
it goes under the 3 lines, or
because up here, right, is like this is pure front matter material.
okay.
So this is where you want to have your meta tags, right, for your document, right?
Okay.
We could remove this, and this is like pretty much MDX, right?
Okay.
So yeah, everything you would expect with your standard MDX thereafter, right?
Okay.
Components / below the wrongly named one. And then we're going to go like that. We're going to close that, and we're going to go this. Right, here's a little story. Don't get any of that, do I? Wonderful story. Highly recommend taking a read at it, right? And right. And so whenever you specify whatever,
there's a typo. Visible. Yeah.
Right, there you go. Sorry. Yeah. Whenever you're utilizing these your JSX elements, right, in Astro, you'd have to specify the hydration. Otherwise, it would just think you just want it as a dummy, right?
Okay.
Closing tags. Oh, shit. Yes, closing tags, right? No matching import found for counter. Sorry.
It's a
hello.
different.
Unable to render. Did you remember to import it? the Dutch is going on here, buddy? 1 second. I'm probably not exporting this properly.
Hello world.
Yeah.
Hello world. So you just need to do hello. Unable to render because it contains an undefined component.
No, buddy, you got it. I'm probably doing something stupid here.
Probably on the MDX page because that your import statement was not recognized. I mean, is that
This, I believe, is because I don't have the extension installed.
okay. So okay, there's MDX extension. Yeah. Export default. Okay, so Elian is mentioning that you missed the export default. Of course, you need it for React statement.
Ah, yes.
Sorry, I have hardly written so.
No, same here. Export default function.
Yeah.
And let me just change this over. Don't even need to name it then. Right. But yeah, here we go. Right. Blah blah blah. Life is good. Then we have our counter. We have our add. We have our subtract. Right. Looks pretty nasty. Elian saving my day. Yes, exactly. Elian, I have to say, right, is one of the Astro ambassadors, right? He does such a great job, right? You know, it's like speaking up for the community, out and about, goes to conferences, man. The guy's brave. Hi. He's such a really cool guy. If you ever, it's like, I would highly recommend this by you, right? See the Astro community. It's because we have, it reflects the platform, right? Because we support so many different frameworks, so many different people, right? Different types of developers, they come together and they collaborate on things so well. The community is, like I said to you earlier, Astro is a commons. You know, it's a project built for the people, by the people, in a sense. The amount of contributions, like in the last 2 weeks, there was 17 outstanding PRs that was put in by the community. You know, fantastic PRs. So, yeah, this is like Brandon Roberts. I mean, we even count him as one of the astronauts of the community. You know, it's like for the Astro integration, small things like that. You know, it's like makes you an astronaut.
That's cool. And it sounds great, right? Astronaut.
Oh, of course. Everybody wants to be an astronaut. You know, NASA doesn't have a hold on that. You know, they shouldn't. Right. So we want to style this. Right. So let's go about styling this, right? So we could give this class, right? And then we've got Tailwind. Oh, cool. Right. So let's make this Tailwind. Texts. I want to make it big. I want to make the text pink. And there you go. Tailwind, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, why it is giving an error below class? Okay, because it's class name in React. Yeah, it's class name. Class name.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I have written very little of TypeScript. Sorry, not TypeScript, React. So,
React,
but yeah,
I haven't written React in a while, right? I'd show you my project, but I need to get it ready for V2. It's not V2 ready yet, right? Nice. But it's but yeah. So what's the count? There we go. We got this, right? But yeah, you got TypeScript. Sorry, you got MDX, Tailwind, and React all together.
That's cool. That's amazing. I mean, I now, as like you mentioned the analog integration, I would totally go and explore this like Astro with Angular world and see what's happening there.
Please, yes. Actually, I have to say I do like this wee color from Tailwind, right?
This is cool. Nice. So indicate. Oh, nice.
You know, so it's yeah. So you could add it to your. You have Tailwind in your Astro files as well. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. right? You can have it here, you could put it in style tags and do the apply. Highly recommend you don't do it, but yeah, go nuts. Really go nuts, Baya.
This is really cool. I mean,
Right. Does anybody have any questions, any more questions about Astro, how to go about utilizing it? Oh, there was one last thing that I wanted to show you, right?
mhm,
Two things, right, that I wanted to show you, right? One was the Astro content collections, right? Because you're familiar with UI frameworks, you can make your components. I'm making a fair bit of assumptions, right? But the one thing that you might not be familiar with is the content story side of things. So far, I've only shown you about dropping it in
pages.
your pages directory, right? There
Mhm.
is many ways to go about setting up routing in Astro, right? To find out more about that, you could go to here and you go to routing, right?
Mhm.
And I'm just going to go over the docs, right? Because
Sure.
just for time constraints, right? But it's very simple, right?
Mhm.
It's a static site generator. Anything that you put into your pages directory would get rendered as is, right? So you could put it in your
Mhm.
about.index.astro becomes your about.me.astro becomes your about.me, right? It does dynamic route, so you could place it within these slug tags, right? And then that way you could just dynamically populate what that author slug would be, right? So it'd be authors forward slash Santosh or authors forward slash fuzzy, right? And you could just do that by writing this get static path function,
Oh, okay.
right?
So this params is like the value which will
Yeah.
be.
So params would be your URL params, right?
Mhm.
Or so, for instance, in this context, right, we're utilizing dog, right? So this
Mhm.
will be
Okay.
dog.astro, right? I
Okay.
mean, let me just put this in here, right? So let's make up a little route, right? Um, so this would be, let's just call this cars, right? And
Mhm.
then we've got to go forward slash index.astro, right?
Mhm.
And it's just going to be a typical page, right?
Because you created a folder.
Oh no, it should.
You have
Oh,
to create
sorry.
it.
Yeah, I did the wrong
Yeah.
way, didn't I? Right, so we're in here, and then we just go create a file and index.astro. Happy days, right?
Mhm.
At the top of our file, we create the component block, right?
Mhm.
We import our layout, right? All right, because we're one level down,
Yeah. So double
right?
dot. Mhm.
So not components, layout. See,
Layout.
Copilot is a real pain in the actual
Mhm.
hole, right?
Sometimes it actually, yeah, it does things. I mean, auto imports, which is wrong, and then you
No, I
keep
mean
on.
Astro's auto import, right, is actually spot on, right? So if I just went like this, right, I went
Mhm.
layout, right, Erica nailed that to a T, right?
That's good.
And then we go title, right, and then we're just going to call this, right, the name of the car, right? Um,
Mhm.
we've not populated this, right? I'm just basically just like filling in
Yeah,
the
got it.
import and
And
going as
then.
I go, right? So if you want to export this, right, so it's like interface. And we're going to call this props, right? And we're going to go with the name of the car, right?
Mhm. Car.
Car string, model, string, your number, fuck it, why not, right?
And then.
And the thing is, we've got Emmet as well, complete Emmet support, right? So we go H1, and then yeah, and then I want two paragraphs, right? So P times two, happy days, right?
Oh. Good.
Emmet's brilliant. Like it's built in with the language tools as well, so you will get all of that,
Yeah.
right? And so we have oh sorry. It would help if I
But
brought these little bastards in, wouldn't it? Right? So we're
that's.
bringing in car model, right? And our year, our properties, right? and we
Mm-hmm.
get that from the Astro.global, global, and we
Of
get
course.
this. So yeah, exactly. But if you wanted to check, you've got all of this here, right?
Okay. All the global properties. Okay.
Exactly, with information
Mm-hmm.
about how to go about
Yeah.
using it, right?
Okay.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like, but yeah, I keep saying this, right? The more you use it, the more you appreciate it, kind of thing. And Erica's done a fantastic job on this, right?
Yes.
So we got our list of cars, right? We're coming in,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm just going to populate this here, right? So we're going to go car make, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, sorry, model. What the fuck am I
Model. Mm-hmm.
doing? And then here is like, we don't need that. And then we're just going to pop
Yeah.
the year in here,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Sorry.
Cool.
We also got the IntelliSense as well. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Right. So,
This is because of the language service, right? If I'm not wrong.
and yes.
Because cool.
Yes, right. And this is TypeScript, the inference, all of that stuff come together and really surfacing all that developer experience up for you, right? So it's as you would expect, right? So we've got this, we've got cars, right? We've not really defined any like anything to go in here, right? Sorry, in our page. We need some information because
Of course.
it's not going to hit a route, So what we're going to have to do, right, is create something called declare some paths or static paths in this case, right? And this is the only real function that we ask you to export up, right? Export async function get static paths, right? And then here, right, it's like we return basically an array, right, of paths, right?
Okay.
And so your first object, right, is like params, which is car, right? And we'll be getting this from let's just try and where should we get this from? Let me make up a JSON object, actually, a little data file, right? In the route. Okay. So and then fuck's sake. Nothing worse than having to write JSON by hand, is there?
Model.
Sod out the worst.
Okay. Cool.
How much? Sorry. And then we got that in, and then let's just put another one in here, right? A couple more, right? Just to populate it. There we go. Right. Happy days.
Yeah.
Thank you, Copilot. You're actually useful, mate. Right. And then so we've got that, and then all we're going to do is just import our we're just going to get that. Imagine that we're just going to hit that as a data point, right? So well, I mean, to be honest, right, you could just directly import a JSON file in, right?
Yeah. You can do a fetch.
Yeah, you can fetch it. Let's fetch it, right? So const get cars, right, equals await fetch. Sorry. Yeah, got me there. Cars.json, right? And then we're just going to .json that.
No.
Sorry, it's not wrapped in. And what I'm going to do here, right, basically is like just make a wee parameter just so I could hit it as an endpoint just to see what I'm getting out of here, right?
Sure,
just to see, just to keep life on track, right? Let's go back to our browser.
Mm-hmm.
So simple browser, and we're back to. Here we go. You go over here. You back over here. Right. Happy days. And we're just going to go to test.
You need to save it. You need to save the file.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
So,
right. So yeah, it's not going to get cars.
Build pass. Why so? Oh, it is looking at SRC pages.
Yeah.
It's outside.
Yep.
It is outside pages. Yeah, now it's back.
Source cars. Yes, cars.json exists. Sorry.
It's db.json, right? So not cars.
Oh, gb.json. Fucking Copilot.
It's okay.
God damn you, motherfucker, man. Part of my language, right? I'm just going to just disable you, right? Fuck off, pal.
Yeah.
Right? You're making this just like.
Yeah. So it's already JSON, so you don't
Yeah.
have to do it JSON.
Oh, yeah. Right. Test is not found.
Yeah. So because
we've got it here, right?
Yeah.
We've
We got the data.
Right, we've got our data, right? And I mean, from what you would like to do, right, is just go one level down, right, and just turn around, right, and make this like name a car, right? So cars model, right, and let's just change this to model, right? Make this a dynamic path now, right? So in here, I'm going to have to declare this model, this second parameter, right? And we could go test.test, right? Right, still not found, still not happy because really we're not doing anything, right?
Okay, so it's matching the path, but it is not rendering somehow.
Yeah, right, because
so
we're not asking for much, right? So
it's a typo, I think. Yeah, it's just
yeah, test./test. There we go. But anyways, right. I just don't like it screaming at me, right? Is another thing, right? But we could also pass in props, right? Here, right? And pass in more information. Sorry, you're happy, right? This here, I'm just going to go like we're just going to map over this get cars now, right? So
Okay.
we'll get cars, right? Dot map. I'm just going to return this, and we're just going to get rid of that. Is the kind of shape, if you get me.
Yeah, I got it.
Right, and so. We're going to get the car.
We get a car, and then
car.
So something else.
Yeah, it's my model year. Right. Happy days. In is
params.
Just 1 second. I'm just going to do this as trying to remember. Yeah. So yeah, object params. Forgot myself already. Hi. Car. Right. Is car. Right. Model. Right. Happy days. What I'll look. Right.
Yeah.
And then what is it saying here? Cars a string.
I think it's same because it's saying you can just mention the property name and it works.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So yeah. No, always dubious about small little features like that. You know what I mean? Props. Prop, right? And then we're just going to pass in the anti, just the whole thing. So car model.
And here.
Here, right?
Okay.
knew my format, and that would be amazing. No, I've done something stupid here. Right, so you getting that? I passing in getting an object back. Params.
Operator is unused and has no state. What is that?
What does that even mean?
String. I have no idea. I mean, it's why it is saying that. Okay.
Declaration expected statement. Wait 1 second. That doesn't help. Get cars.map. Destructure you. Bring this in, and then you know what I'm going to do is just going to wrap you around this. There you go.
Oh,
I thought that.
okay.
Right.
That's what. Because it's an arrow function, you have to return either return or you have to.
An implicit return. Yeah. And so we got that, right? So we should have our car models. We got Audi and A4, right? See, this is what I was wanting to do, right? Was to lowercase the string, right? To lowercase.
Oh, okay.
To normalize it, right? Because we're having to type in model dot to lowercase. Right. Happy days, right? And now we should be able to go to Audi A4.
Okay.
Audi A4. Yay! We got a page.
Yep.
Right.
It says get cars.map is not a function. Why so? Because get cars. I mean, it is giving the value. We just like did a console.log and it's giving the value in console.log, right?
Yeah.
It's 404. Now it's saying, okay, it got the value. Okay, now it's in default.
Yeah.
It's default. Okay. I think it's a property, not a function. It's just property. Let's see. Hello. Terminal. And it says hello. Undefined. Okay.
Yep.
Why not? Why it's.
This is just me being an idiot now.
Right. It's okay. I mean, this is live coding. This is how it happens. So I mean, in December I was giving a talk at one of the conference, and I was doing live coding, and guess what? As soon as I started, everything started failing. So I was like, oh,
yeah.
So okay, this is live conference, and now 300 people. I was like, okay, I'm gone. I'm dead. So it always happens.
No.
But somehow I figured it out. I mean, just somehow I had a backup. So yeah, it works out at the end. Let's see. Good cars is not a function. But we have the values and it's array.
Yeah.
So what's the problem here?
This is just me being a special person.
Was found for requested path. Pattern was matched, but no matching static path. Now it's saying it is found, but it's I don't think so. It's a problem with the configuration, I think. What is the issue here? So you are passing params car model, and it says it's 404 rather than matching to car's model.
Yep. Either way, I like to leave it here. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I
Sure,
think
sure.
this
I
is
mean, probably we can do another stream somehow. But because I was really interested in.
sorry, my head's just been frazzled. This is
No, no, no.
just
It's
giving me
okay.
a peach.
Let's stop. Yeah, probably we can do another stream, and we will talk about content because I was really interested in the content. I really love the API,
Mhm.
uh, and like with the content you have like you can query the content, and then you have this pagination thing which is out of the box. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So we will probably explore all those things in on next stream, and we will end here for the day.
Hold on by 1 second. I'm just determined now.
Yeah, it's I think it's a matching the URL.
Yeah, it's matching it, but I'm
Yeah, yeah.
seriously just tripping something up here. Oh, right,
Ah,
because it's cars.
oh my goodness. Really?
Really.
Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, I think it should work now. A spelling mistake, so it's okay. It
I even
happens.
had my fucking glasses on as well.
It happens. A typo.
What's the fucking point of these things?
Oh, nice, nice, nice. But yeah,
Oh,
this is.
jeez.
Ah,
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to code, right, remember your typos.
yeah, of course.
But yeah, generally
This-
speaking, it
hmm.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is cool. This is so I really love the dynamic routing part because in other frameworks, of course, you have to define it, and here you have like, of course,
A simple.
file-based routing.
Mhm.
Yeah, file-based routing, which makes it a lot simpler when you are like doing the routing or dynamic routing. So it's pretty amazing. So thanks, thanks for showing us this. I mean, this was really interesting. I mean, as I said, we will probably let's meet again
Yes,
sometime
because
next month, probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's get a project going for next month, right? I would like to show you a couple of more cool things like the server-side rendering, content collections, because this is very much like a very good intro level use case,
Hmm.
right? That we've just explored
Yeah,
here, right?
that's cool.
That still works, yeah. So this works perfectly like a treat now, right? There you go.
Hmm.
You import from the file system if you want. You could even do top level fetch and await. For instance,
Hmm.
if I just went and grabbed the JSON typey code placeholder addressy thingamajiggy, right? We could do
Hmm.
the same with this, right? So like JSON typey code.
Yeah, yeah. The API, right? So
Yep. Here we
yeah.
go.
Hmm.
Right. Just so I could ping this, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're just going to grab that. And then because yeah, after that we annoying error, right? That's cars. Let's let's do something like a dynamic post page, right? Because we don't know what we're getting. Sorry, dynamic file. Okay. So notice the three dots, right?
Hmm.
And the right of the pages directory. And here I'm just going to go export async function get static pass. Thank God Copilot's got out of my way.
Hmm.
Return for the time being, like I always do, right? It's like let's just call this test
Hmm.
test, right? Let me just take a look at this. So we've got post.id.
Yep.
Yeah, so we go so it goes posts, right?
Hmm.
And we're just going to call this posts. Because what this is going to be /posts, and then we're just going to create
Yeah.
the other one, right? And so this
Hmm.
is going to be the dynamic part, right? So this is going to be our ID, right?
Hmm.
And this is what's going to be the endpoint that we're going to make it dynamic, right? Okay, and then here we're going to go props, and we're just going to pass in right, and that's the data for the page, right? So all the page level data coming in, right? It's fed this way. So we're just going to go const get posts, right? Await fetch feed JSON type code / post, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap that in JSON that. JSON, right? And then await this, right? And then here we're just going to console log dot get. And watch this bit its light out, right? So we've got posts, right? / test.
Post / I think it should be. You have not mentioned post, so okay. This 3 dot is like okay. I can match anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So post dot test something. Yeah, and then we got our fucking data mine this.
Yeah, we got the data.
So we got something going, right? We were in the same point as we were last, right? Right. So and bear in mind, it's not pushing anything here, right? So we don't have a layout, nothing, right? Nada. And so when we go like here, we could just go H1. No, it's not liking that. I'm sure we hit that tip. But anyways, I put routes there, right? So we're just going to make this bit dynamic. We're going to go get posts, right? And then what we're going to get back, right? So this is return get posts dot map.
Why it is not
that fingers, right? And then we're just going to basically go post. Let it return this params.
post.id or
oh shit! 1 second.
It should be. Oh, is it under cars?
No. This is still on the route. This is on the route.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So here it will be post.id, right? Post.
Yeah. Dot ID. So it would be sorry. Post.id. And what is this saying? Post. Post is any type.
Okay. Yeah. Because you have, of course, you have to define interface. Otherwise, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to bother doing that right now.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to pass in the posts, right? And then remove this. Save that. And then we're going to go here.
Four. Is that a typo again? No. Post ID. And it says 44. Okay.
I got it now. Right. Okay, I got it. Post. Right. Sorry, my fucking mistake. My head was up my ass again. It's right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go. Here we go.
Okay. Oh, you have hello. Okay, so post, and then because it's a dynamic route and with 3 dots, so this is how you match. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, that's what I was forgetting. It was like it was only matching one, right? So it's basically the slug is what we're matching in the params, right? We just building that out. So that'll be post.1, post.2, right? And now we can just grab the title and start populating this page out, right? So, sorry, let me just grab this. Const post, right? And we're going to go equals astro.post. There we go, props, right? And then we're going to go const all the data.
Posts. Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So this should be data.title, right? But then we're just going to wrap this into our little curlies. There we go. Right. Happy days. No, that didn't like that, did it? Post is on the
Post, because it's posts. Is it? No.
post.
3 dots. Is it 3 dots?
Yeah.
Because in props you have to just like pass like post or yeah. So and now you can.
Sorry, I'm just going to console all my props here. Because I don't have a clue about any of this. I work for a web company. I work for the company, bro, right? Called Astro, right? Yeah. And then so let me just get rid of that, right? And then where did I write this? You can just get rid of that and all, right? And get rid of this console log because you're just a mess in my eyes, right?
And okay, you have the data. So it's user ID title because
happy days because I'm destructuring up there. That's why, right?
Yeah.
Which is good for us, right? So we're just going to go const
say
ID, right? Title. Well, we don't need the ID. We go title and body, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then title, and then P
body.
Yeah, I suppose I could just render that out in a paragraph, can't I?
Yeah.
Right. P body.
Yep.
Mr. Peabody. There you go.
Nice.
Right.
I'll be back.
Not a problem. And there you go, guys. Tailwind, Astro. Yeah, I believe that turned out all right, don't you think? I think so and all. Thank you for staying put, guys. If you want to find out more about Astro, by all means, please join us on the Astro Discord channel, right? Where you will find all the cool, fun, and interesting people hanging out and chatting. Like you can see here, they've already got a wee conversation going, which is really interesting to see. Support squad, right? Where you could come in and help. Well, if you've got any questions or if you want to come and help answer questions, you can do. As you can see, we get a lot of people helping in and around the support squad and the general community as it is. Right. So yeah, happy days, guys. Hope you enjoy your time with Astro. If you've got any questions, queries, or anything like that, by all means, do hit me up. Now, he's not back yet. Yeah, everybody in the support squad is super helpful and amazing. It is a community thing. So it's one of those where the community really does get together and helps everyone as much as they can do. It's really altruistic. It's really wonderful to see, guys. It's funny. He's going to come back and I'm going to bounce off. But yeah, anybody got any questions or queries they want to ask me? Oh, here he is.
Oh, cool. Sorry, I'm back.
All right. No, I appreciate that, Baya. Right. I was about to say, let's hook up in a month, right, or so. And yeah, so we've got our tailwind, we've got our markdown, we've got our data coming in. You know, it's like, what else do you need? You know, at this point, you just need a customer just to pay you, and you're away. You know.
Of course. This is cool. So yeah. I mean, yeah, as I said, let's meet again sometime next month, and then we'll
Anytime, Baya.
explore more. Yeah, and we'll talk about the content because we have data fetch as well. And of course, we saw some of them data
Hmm.
fetching, but I think there is more to it.
Oh,
I went
yes.
through the rocks, yeah, and that's really interesting. So,
Well,
we'll,
content
we'll
collections is a whole new ball game.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
world's first type safe markdown content experience for us developers, which is amazing. So I'll
yeah.
love to by all means show you and your friends all of that.
Cool. So, thanks again for joining and then walking us through the Astro, and I'll make sure that I'll
Mhm.
tweet about it. So the video is available for everyone,
Thank you,
and
Baya.
and
I
we'll
really
meet again.
appreciate that.
And
Of course,
uh,
namaste.
thanks
Right.
again.
Really appreciate that. Right. I hope you have a great day, Baya.
Yeah, thank you so much. So thank you everyone for joining today, and we I really enjoyed. I mean, especially the support in the chat, Elian and DKL who were there
Oh, legends.
supporting us. Yeah,
Amazing.
supporting.
Thank you.
So that thanks again for hanging out, and yeah, we'll meet again. And by the way, as I mentioned, I mean shameless plug, but we also do a podcast, which is a 30-minute podcast, which is again live streamed. So we call it as a This is Tech Talks, and we do it on another community channel. But in case any one of you are interested to join us as a guest, of course, I will get back to you, Puneet, because
Hmm. Of
I think we can have a short format podcast because I think
course.
there is some more things which we can explore from here. Of course, we heard some words like partial hydration and
Hmm.
then page level routing. Those are something which probably can be converted to a podcast,
Of
and
course.
we can do a short format as well. So thanks again, and I really loved it. So of course, as I said, I explored a little bit Astro last week, and I was really amazed but by what Astro has been doing. So thank you so much for all the work you do.
No, thank you, Baya. Thank you very much for your time and your patience and putting up with me. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Right.
Cool. So probably let's hope we meet again
Mhm.
this year as well
Of
somewhere.
course, it needs to be done sometime. Um, wish you all the best.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Take care.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.